My loves, hello, hello, hello. So if you've been following my stories, many of you will know that I was at a conference last week. It was one of the most exciting things I've ever done, and a conference like no other I've ever attended, where there were morning raves and delicious breakfasts and incredibly potent, powerful, inspiring, energizing women speakers like Katyanova. I mean, this thing was arranged, it's Living Brave Live, it's arranged by Shoshana Raven. Off the charts, absolutely amazing. Amanda Francis was there. I mean, I'm forgetting names, but anyway, it was a vibe. It was such a vibe. And I came back absolutely jam-packed, full of inspiration. And I've been vibing with this idea for a little while, right? And towards the end of my degree last year, I kind of went, I was seeing private clients, but things were so intense with doing my dissertation, neurodivergence, dissertations, like figuring out how to navigate this whole world is like tricky. So I really simplified things, and I was still seeing my private clients, but I wasn't really online so much, and I did take my website down. Then I came to the end of my degree, moved back to London, life kind of shifted and changed. I got my website back up online. And I was taking some time putting my bio together because, as we develop these different skills and move through these different phases, it's a little bit like there is an identity shift, and there's this new level of sort of self reflection and awareness and connecting and tapping into what we are now, where I am now, what I am now, how the image of myself is, the person that I am right now. I have a sleeping cat over there. He's ridiculously cute. Much too loud at night though. So I realized as I was putting together my bio, which you're welcome to check out on my website, which is now fjchi.org, because energy means everything, right? Chi is everything, is energy. I was realizing that everything that I've been doing, so a little bit of backstory. I've worked in mental health forever. I was a mental health worker from the age of 17. Didn't actually realize that you could get paid money for it because I started doing it when I was living in Ireland. And then, I don't know, I don't know if it's still the case, but in Ireland, there's this huge emphasis on charity and giving, and maybe not so good at receiving, because that's the biggest learning curve that I've had in my life so far, actually, not just the giving and the receiving, but actually the interplay between the two. I think the microcosmic orbit, which is a qigong practice that I share quite a lot, is a really beautiful sort of embodied representation of what that's all about. So I realized that what I was doing was wanting to make a transition from being the person that I was always giving, many experiences of burnout until I was working in mental health from the age of 17 until 35, and then I went back to study, but I was still working in mental health. It's just I was working as a mental health counsellor from then on. So I've basically always worked in mental health. And on top of that, I'm a yoga teacher and a qigong teacher, and just really fascinated by consciousness and trance states and what we can learn about ourselves in trance states and all that kind of thing. I think that there's so much more to be kind of digested and picked up and changed and rearranged in a trance state than in our awake and conscious state, because that's where the negativity bias gets all rah. So when I was writing my bio, this image kept coming to me, and I work with archetypes a lot, and so this was really exciting for me. Also, I work with, through dance and movement, embodying archetypes, and this archetype was coming through so strongly, the archetype of the vibrantly alive woman. And it feels so juicy and delicious to me, right? So that was part of what I was talking about in my bio, how everything that I'd done and everything that I'd reflected on and integrated was helping me become this vibrantly alive person, shedding burnout, shedding overgiving, shedding lack of boundaries, and moving into this space of vibrant aliveness, yeah? And she was this character, right? This archetype was really like playing quite a lot during Living Brave Live. You know, it was such a cool opportunity. I got to talk about the Compassion Project with everybody who would listen. I got to talk to people about my anti-therapy therapist movement. It was just so fun. And it like just like speaking in this, you know, the way quite often like we dumb it down, like we play it down, we don't say exactly what we want to say, we're worried about kind of like offending people or just like being too uber, being too energetic, being too much. Like how many, like hands up if you have a history of like worrying about being too much and like diluting yourself, right? Living Brave Live was like this school where you just get to like express all of it in trust to the fact that like every single woman there was a woman who was living in service to the greatest life force possible. How could anything that you say possibly be too much or offensive when that is what you are working in service to, when that is the woman that you are wanting to bring forward and draw forward and like, I don't know, like have raise up, have elevate in the world. So today is actually a little bit of a tricky day for me. It is the 11th. Is it the 11th? My mum died in 2012, September 11th, 2013. Sorry, September 11th, 2013. And so it's the 11th anniversary of her death today. And as the years have gone on, you know, there's a different tone, a different quality to this day. But my mum was an entrepreneur. Cannot tell you how many side hustles she had. She was an art teacher, she was a psychotherapist, she was a hypnotherapist, a Reiki master. The list goes on and on. And basically, she just filtered all of that through her creative self and designed wonderful experiences for her clients. And like well after she passed away, I would get emails from her clients telling me how she transformed their lives through her magic. And it feels like so appropriate. It feels like an act of synchronicity that on this day where I just feel really, really tender, actually. I feel really tender. I just feel like I have to mind myself today. But also, I just want to come on here and tell you that the vibrantly alive woman is manifesting itself into a little something that I'm going to launch in the beginning of October. It's going to be a month-long experience of almost daily audio drops and weekly group coaching. And I just want to let you know about it now. I mean, I'm going to just keep going on and on and on about it for the next few weeks because I want you in on it. I want more of us to feel vibrantly alive. And maybe even just right now, you could take a moment to tap into what that means for you, what images you associate with that, what feeling tone you associate with that. Is there a sensation that you associate with that? Does that light up one of your senses in a particular way? I want us all to get amongst it and get really curious about that, how that could manifest in our lives. And if you're already feeling vibrantly alive, well, let's just up it. Let's get higher and higher and higher. I want this to be, I never want our self-esteem to ever be dampened or hit. I never want it to be hit by fucking anything. I want us to feel so powerful and unstoppable and have such bounce back that we just get to live vibrantly alive, more and more and more and more and more. Like we just get to like experience more and more of ourselves, more and more expansion, more and more growth, more and more joy. So that's what I wanted to share with you for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for wanting to be part of a movement where we have more vibrant aliveness all over the airwaves, all over everywhere. I love you. Thank you.